just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're gonna watch the ladies from the lunatics from The View have a meltdown over I believe it's over 3,000 deportations that have happened already. So let's not waste any time and get into this video. Now, the purpose of this video is to show you guys that these ladies really don't know what they're talking about, because they don't even understand the concept that coming into this country undocumented illegally is a crime within itself. Let's get into it.
Nationwide mass deportation live show that we've been seeing on every network has even featured some guest stars like Dr. Phil. But one celebrity who... The nationwide mass deportation live show that we've been seeing on every network has even featured some guest stars like Dr. Phil. But one celebrity who isn't being welcomed into the conversation is Selena Gomez. Now, she took down an emotional post talking about the impact of these raids on her people. After backlash, here's what border czar Tom Homan and conservative media had to say.
Tom Homan. There's no L in his name.
Selena Gomez and the others.
Yeah.
I would check your compassionate privilege.
Yeah.
Because they never said anything about Laken Riley.
No.
Singer and actress Selena Gomez filmed herself weeping today. She was in a, well, let's call it a performative fit of hysteria because Donald Trump is deporting violent criminal illegal immigrants.
We got 500,000 children who are sex trafficked into this country, separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels to be smuggled into the country. This administration can't find over 300,000. Where's the tears for them?
So Selena responded by posting, apparently it's not okay to show empathy for people. So, you know, I guess I'm supposed to ask you if you think the country has a problem finding empathy, but I wonder if you really want to, you know, make an impact, why aren't they sending folks back who are in jail already? Why aren't we seeing those mass deportations of people who have been found guilty of a crime? And why aren't we sending them back?
He'd have to send the January 6 people back too then, because...
Yeah, see, instead of answering the question, they deflect. And I guarantee you nobody's going to answer.
But, you know, I'm questioning why...
Yeah, they're not going to answer. Well, let me tell you this, Whoopi. The reason that they're not going after people that are in jail already is because these sanctuary cities are not allowing them to. This is the exact same reason that Tom Homan is just going door to door and just picking up the migrants that are out and about. Because these sanctuary city laws don't allow the federal agencies, ICE, to go out there and get these individuals from the jails and deport them from the jails. So these sanctuary cities is at fault, and she doesn't know that. Because why? Because she's not paying attention. They're not paying attention at all. Tom Homan has said this multiple times, on multiple occasions, on multiple platforms. He said, we are forced to have to go after the migrants that are out there in the streets because these sanctuary city laws are not allowing us to get the criminal migrants that are already in prison, that are already convicted, that already have a conviction. So what do you expect them to do?
Is Dr. Phil there? What is
because
Dr.
it is
Phil
now a
doing
reality show. This is the new reality show. And I'm hoping that we can put music behind this because it's only going to be a matter of weeks before we start to see, I mean, just folks showing up. What are we seeing? What is going on?
Well, the only thing that could fix so much of the division in this country is empathy, is compassion. And there's no privilege to that. Giving it to anyone, compassion, empathy, watching Selena Gomez, what people don't understand is two things can be true at once. All of these conservative media pundits answered with, what about the violent criminals? Selena Gomez can feel compassion for people being deported. She has a very personal connection to that. Her grandmother came in the back of a truck across the border, and her father was then born in the country. She's born in the country. She belongs here. But that is natural to then say, God, it's heartbreaking to watch this. It can be
So she's an anchor baby. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
heartbreaking, and she can still not be okay with violent criminals. And they keep saying in there, we're taking the violent criminals. Well, the point I made here at the table is they're not transparent about who they're bringing. They're knocking on doors, they're rounding up people, and they're not saying, if they broke down every person deported and said, we've got 16 murderers, 15 rapists, 13 repeat offenders, everyone in this country, including Selena Gomez, would say, bravo. But that's not what's happening, and they're not being open about it. So never condemn someone for showing empathy for another person.
That's right.
She doesn't have to address Laken Riley, which is an awful, tragic story that happened here in this country. She can, it's not saying that she agrees with that to say she understands the plight of all of these people. So it's just a disgusting place we're at when we can't even recognize that.
1,200 deportations a day, but half of them have no criminal record.
Yes.
And wait a second.
You see, boom. They don't believe that coming into this country undocumented is a crime. That's the biggest issue. That's why there's a disconnect with the people like on The View and everybody else that is not understanding this concept here. The fact that they came into this country undocumented, unvetted, without going through the port of entry, without having seeking asylum the proper way, without going through the embassy, without checking in at border patrol or whatever. You just came into this country, got smuggled in, or you jumped the border, or you went through whatever, right? You came in here illegally. That is a crime, and they don't see that. So that's why this conversation will never go anywhere with these people like The View and any leftists, is that until they realize that actually coming into this country undocumented is a crime, this conversation will never go anywhere. We will never get anywhere.
And the price of eggs is up. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, I mean, listen, the immigration system is broken. Most Americans agree. They disagree on the solutions. I think we need to secure the border. We need to streamline the process so you can come here legally, and it's easier to do that. I think immigrants make our country better. But I agree that...
Is it easy to do?
We need to fix the system to make it much easier. It can take years to become a citizen. It's a very onerous process. But empathy can be a two-way street because, agreed, of course Selena Gomez's lived experience, she is going to feel something when she sees families potentially being separated. And on the other side, with Laken Riley, I think the issue here is people are like, well, why aren't you mad when an American kills another American? Of course we are. Of course we're outraged, it's evil, and it's wrong. What makes this so heartbreaking for people is it was avoidable. The system failed Laken Riley. That person should not have been here in the first place. They should have been deported because they are one of these violent offenders. And so a young woman, a young UGA student, is not alive today because the system failed her. So be mad at both at once. That's something that's perfectly reasonable. But what I'm frustrated about with this conversation is anytime we talk about border security in America and immigration, we act like it's uniquely American, racist, and xenophobic. Every nation on earth deals with this issue. I sat with then Chancellor Angela Merkel when she was discussing how many Syrian migrants she could afford to bring into Germany safely and economically. This is how every country deals with it. Canada and the U.S. have the largest unguarded borders in the world. So we need to also be realistic. How do we talk about issues everyone faces, do it in a humane way, make the border secure, but also people who want to be here for the right reasons can get here?
It's not possible because cruelty is the point with him.
That
cruelty seems to be what he's into. Like, let's show this happening. And when you keep showing pictures of immigrants being pushed out and maybe even pulled away from their children, the American people will have to look into themselves.
But 87% support deporting criminal undocumented migrants.
Well, I don't know anybody in the world. I don't know anybody in the world who wants to keep the criminals. I don't know anybody.
That's where we should be focused.
Can I say something? Because, we keep on talking about criminals and immigrants being criminals. And I just want people to understand what the facts are and the stats are, is that undocumented immigrants are much less likely to have committed crimes than American citizens. American citizens commit more crimes than anyone who is undocumented.
That is not true. Factually, that is just incorrect. Because every illegal immigrant that is in this country is technically a criminal. The fact that you came into this country by basically going around the laws makes you a criminal by default. So 100% of every illegal immigrant that is in this country is a criminal. Like, once again, this is the disconnect with these people. They do not see coming into this country undocumented as a crime. She just proved it to you.
I also want to make the point that an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal because he or she is undocumented. That is a civil offense. So to call people illegals is, in and of itself, I think, xenophobic and racist.
And incorrect.
I do. And incorrect. The other thing that I will say is that, to Joy's point, on Sunday, there were 1,179 people arrested. Only 613 of them were considered criminal arrests. That means that the rest appear to be either nonviolent offenders or have not committed any criminal offense at all. And so what we are doing, again, is we have decided as a country to demonize a certain type of immigrant, a certain looking type of immigrant. And those immigrants are either from Central America or Mexico. They are brown. There are a lot of undocumented immigrants here, about 40% of them who come from other countries that aren't brown. But we are not rounding them up. So we are not doing that. So what we are doing, though, is making sure that these other people. My final point is, to your first question, Whoopi, I think this country is a country that lacks empathy unless you have lived it, unless you have a lived experience. And that is very unfortunate. There are people that live life of privilege who don't walk in those steps. And Liz Cheney, for example, is an example of that. In 2020, she was so against same-sex marriage. She opposed it, she voted against it, until she realized that it caused a rift because her sister was a lesbian.
Just to make
and
this
she
a
switched
bit of a
gears.
conversation, just two quick things,
right?
So on the issue, it is true that statistically migrants in this country are less likely to commit crimes, but you can't, it's the same thing that Democrats did in the election where they're like, crime's actually down. When people know of this woman who was literally set on fire on a New York subway, they don't care what the stats say. She was murdered over the holidays by someone who never should have been in the country.
They should care about the stats.
Secondly, on visa real quickly, on visa overstays. When you come here on a visa, the U.S. government knows where you came from, what your name is, your place of origin. Yes, there are some who shouldn't be in the country anymore. That doesn't have the same national security risk of people. We have no idea their home origin, where they came from, why they're here, where they're staying.
stopping you because I gotta go. We'll be right back.
Migrants from the border do matter.
Wow, they gotta stop her. She gotta go. That's it, right? When she's getting to the facts. When she's getting to the facts, they gotta go.
Heartbreaking for people.
I told you guys, this is the reason that this conversation will never get anywhere with anybody that does not understand that coming into this country undocumented is a crime. Just like Alyssa Farah just said at the end. If you come in here into this country undocumented, how are we going to know who you are? Where you came from, your background, what diseases that you're bringing. As somebody that came into this country the legal way, the process was so tedious. The amount of background checks they did, the amount of blood work and the amount of blood we had to go give and testing that we had to go through. I mean, it was rigorous. So yes, that must be done, and for a reason, because some people want to come into this country with bad intentions. And so if we don't know who they are, where they come from, what their background is, and their reason for coming into this country, then we shouldn't let them in at all. We shouldn't let them in at all. And this is the problem with the left, is that they're not understanding that people on the right and Republicans and conservatives we're not saying that we shouldn't allow people into this country. We're saying vet them first. It's really that simple. Just vet them. Find out who they are, where they come from, their name, their background, their history, and then let them into this country if they have good intentions. Not just let anybody into this country because they just want to be in this country. That's not how this works. That is not how this works. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let's talk about this video in the comment section. Hit the like button down below. And if you enjoy the content, you enjoy this video, I appreciate it if you help me out. Hit the like. It really helps the channel. And of course, if you're brand new, consider subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.